You're listening to the Death Rattle Crew, a Hearthstone podcast.
DRC, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Death Rattle Crew, a Hearthstone podcast. This is episode number 14. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Tattoo Hearn, and I'm joined, as always, by Matt Mooshu Hill.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Avery, how you doing, sir?
It's morning for me as well.
Yeah.
But it's all good.
It's too early. If we've learned anything about internet gamers, it's we prefer the company of
The
night.
wee hours. Yeah.
Yeah. The 9 p.m.s are definitely closer to what we prefer than the 9 a.m.s. It's just brutality.
Yeah, normally we record this in the morning my time, and so it's evening, sometimes late evening or early morning your guys' time. So I'm feeling your pain. This is this is rough.
But yeah, by that point in the day, I'm just so like buzzed and stuff. It's just like, you know, enough to just keep going. But in the morning, it's like everything's just been reset, and it just has to get out of it.
I felt more alert the last podcast at the end of it, which was like for me 3 a.m.
Yeah.
At 9 a.m. now. Like so gone, man.
You can tell we don't participate in the real world very much. We sort of just sit on the fringe and play Hearthstone. That's what we do.
Living the dream.
Pretty much.
So we'll start. We'll go ahead and start with Avery. Avery, what's been going on? How you doing? Any updates?
I kind of after last month, I kind of like decided to take about 1 week, just like casually playing Hearthstone, not really like committing a lot of time to it. I hit rank 5, I think.
I think that's last time I saw you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm quite comfortable with that now. I think this week maybe I'm gonna make a push and see how quickly I can get to legend. Because I haven't been playing much really. It's just that my win rate's been very high. I guess it's just like you're not so tired every time you play like 5 to 10 games and you're like, okay, I'm good. And then like, you know, you don't get exhausted playing like 60 games or something a day.
Right.
So I'm quite happy with where I am there. I finally got something put on Tempo Storm.
Okay.
If anyone's interested and like didn't have enough of our Dragon Paladin discussion the last week, I wrote a whole article about it this week. It kind of goes through the cards that are good in it, what makes the deck tick, some matchups. I gave like 3 sample lists that are by now probably slightly outdated, but like it just gives you an idea of the different ways you can take the deck. So if anyone's interested, you can check it out at tempostorm.com.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the show notes for the podcast, so listeners, you'll be able to just click that there.
Sweet.
Take you straight there.
That's all for me.
Rainad GG.
Yes. Matt, how about you? What's going on?
I'd like to say I was taking the first week casually, but I was going all right. But then I got at some point around rank like high rank 7, I got stuck in reverse, and I'm like nearly back to rank 9. But I don't know. This is the week. I sort of wanted to take it a little bit more casually last week, but it didn't happen. I ended up grinding out quite a few games, but it did not have a good grind. It was stuck in reverse, as they say. So
it's quite hard to grind this season, right? Like there's just too many decks right now. As of this now, it's too hard.
There's a lot. Yeah. What is it? We got like 4 mages running around, maybe 5 different types.
That's really what shits me at the moment. Is mages. I feel happy queuing into anything but a mage. It's just like
2 control warrior. 2 different warriors.
Yeah.
Like, there's Ram Druid, mid-range Druid, and then when you think, oh, I finally got it, I finally figured out what it is, and you build like a deck which is good against like a some number of these. Next 3 decks face Hunter, and then you lose like the next 3 stars. It's ridiculous.
One of the things I did say was like a lot more, I guess, traditional zoo, because I think the traditional zoo does better. It's like the face hunter control hunter matchup. The more control-y zoo gets stomped by the faster zoo. It's just it's.
Oh really? I don't know. I didn't see much like non-boom Malganic zoo. All the zoos I saw were boom Malganic zoo. No, I did see, I guess, more Dark Iron Dwarf, so maybe that's the version. I didn't make it far enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I say as soon as I see a Dark Iron Dwarf and a Argent
Squire.
Yeah, I was in Squire. Yeah, that's what I was like. No, it's not Mal'Ganis food. This
Yeah.
is the that's the speed.
Okay, I mean, maybe no Mal'Ganis, no Void. I think still probably Void Caller is just too value. I think they definitely still play Boom, right? I'm quite sure I saw Boom in some of those games.
I'm trying to
I
think.
think Boom's just too good to pass up.
did make it to the Boom turn just before then.
Not to the Mal'Ganis turn though. So
Yeah. For all I know, there could be a Mal'Ganis, but no, did not make it that far.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I ran into this week. I've I don't know. I forgot. I think I'm at rank 11 right now. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I hit it real hard on Wednesday. I'm 12, so I got knocked back to 12. Yeah, when I've been playing Handlock all week and doing pretty well with it. I've been surprised.
That's a good thing.
Druids my win percentage is way low with them, but everyone else I'm doing pretty good against. But yeah, it's been most of what I play against is either mage or hunter, and I'm about 60% win rate against the hunter, and it's 50-50 with the mage. But yeah, the first time I saw the traditional Zulak you're talking about when he dropped the Argent Squire, I'm like, what on earth is going on? Where's the?
You know how to play that card.
Where's the IGBs? You know, where's all the cards I saw last week?
I still think there's the IGBs, but yeah, it's just the Argent Squares is just sort of like, hang on, and then it's like it's just annoying as shit to deal with because it's got Divine Shield. That's probably why it's in there.
Right.
I think it's probably like Zoo tech against Zoo, right? Like the Argent Squire. Just a more sticky one drop.
Yeah.
Well, I started playing Sacrificial Pact in my zoo. That was very profitable.
Ooh,
just because there were so many at the time. I was playing against so many warlocks. It's just like it's like free tempo swing. It's like
it's crazy.
You know, GG Mal'Ganis. and it was like, I guess there's sort of the added, I guess, fringe benefit of in the face hunter. Oh yeah, more so in the face hunter matchup. Just sacking a 1/1 demon token for 5 more health is just like really fantastic. And I think I actually like just GG to Freeze Mage for doing it because like he had like Antonitis out or something, and it just got like above the threshold for damage and was able to turn it around. It's just
nice.
It's an interesting card.
Thankfully, there's not a lot of priests on the circuit right now. Otherwise, it'd be GG Thought Steal.
Oh yeah.
That's true.
Jiraxis and then the untimely death. All right. Well, a couple of housekeeping things. The information for the Pit 2 is up on the website. Go ahead and head there. I'll have the link in the show notes, but you can also just go to www.deathrattlecrew.com, and it is stickied on the front page there. We're going to use Battlefy to host it this time. We've got the bracket and everything there. So it's BATTLEFY.com. So if you don't have an account there, go ahead and get signed up. Again, you can find all the details on when it's going to be, what you need to do, what's the format, all that on our website. And of course, don't forget, you can find the past pit and all our videos at YouTube. Just search Death Rattle Crew. And of course, we're on Twitter. And you can mail us at mail@deathrattlecrew.com. So other than that, we'll go ahead and get into Meta Anatomy. Welcome to Meta Anatomy, your one weekly stop for everything meta in Hearthstone. I'm Tac2, joined by Mooshu and Avery. And this week, we'll go ahead. We'll start with the meta, I guess the meta report or the Meta Anatomy. I don't know why we have a name for the reported that is in meta. But we've got some different things we want to talk about. Do we want to start big, or do we want to save the cool one for last? What do you guys want to do? You want to keep the listeners on their toes and talk about what's been out, we're just excited about?
We already started talking about that. So
okay. The rogue.
All right, that's it. So we'll go big first.
The rogue's big, really? I was thinking the other one was like bigger because of like, dragons.
It being what it is. Dragons.
I get it. A little pun there.
I thought you intended it, man. I'm kind of disappointed right now. Anyway,
you needed to claim it, and no one needed to be any wiser than that.
Well, Avery, why don't you go ahead and take this one?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and start it.
Okay, so the rogue we're talking about is basically a hyped play in the Kingwin Pro League finals, and he brought like a new version, like a different version of the all rogue deck that has been terrorizing um, Zoo and Druid players. Uh, the list he went for is very interesting. He doesn't play any Violet teachers, and no booms. Instead, going for two Scarlet Crusader instead. Um, I like this choice. I feel like if you were to play enough all rogue, you'll know that a big problem with the deck is a lack of actual minions you can just put down. So, for example, like on turn 3, when you have nothing else to do and you have an SI agent in your hand, it just feels kind of wasted. But you kind of do have to just put down an SI agent on 3 because you need to. Yeah, I mean it feels gross, but you have to do it because if you don't have a board, you're not gonna win in the deck. So like the big plays that really need something in Oro is the 3-drop and the 4-drop. After that, you can kind of like choose to weave in spells, but you need to find something to stick on the board. Scarlet Crusader is a good choice. It's a very sticky 3-drop. It's high health, high damage, 3. In that way, it's stronger than Harvest Golem, so you can trade up more of the time. And I think the Divine Shield makes it slightly better with the Tinker Sharpsword Oil in case you ever need that, like in case that synergy ever happens. It doesn't play Violet Teacher, and it's the Druid. Like a 6/1 Divine Shield, boys.
Have it live for the next turn. It's just like
yeah. It doesn't play any Violet Teachers. Instead, playing double Piloted Shredder instead of 1. And it plays Edwin Van Cleef as well. I can't say I like this choice. I respect it. You can see why he does that because Violet Teacher is the kind of card that makes you want to go all in on your spells, and I think most decks and most players are already very attuned to how to beat a Violet Teacher. They save like their Consecration for it. They save their Knife Juggler Unleash or their Knife Juggler Implosion for the Violet Teacher. So it's a card that people are very used to, and hence it doesn't really get much value anymore. I've always found Shredder. I always found that in any given position, I would want to have Shredder more than I do Violet Teacher. It's just a stickier minion that can trade up or deal more damage to the opponent most of the time. And more importantly, if he wants to play Edwin Van Cleef, you can't really play Violet Teacher in the deck because it's kind of like they come at cross purposes. You want to go all in on spells and then you go in on the Van Cleef, or you play the teacher and you go all in on spells. There's rarely space to do both these things. And like you can't really half-ass it either. You pick one and you go all in. And once you go all in on one, you can't really play the other one anymore. So given that he wants to play Edwin Van Cleef, I can see why he doesn't play the Violet Teacher, instead opting to up the Piloted Shredder number. And since like you have Scarlet Crusader on an earlier turn, you really have enough sticky minions to be played. He doesn't have more 3s. He doesn't play. Okay, so instead of playing Earthen Ring Farseer on the 3-drop, he's playing double Scarlet Crusader, which I guess I'm not sure if he's like trying it out. I suppose if he brought it to the Kingwin Pro League finals, it should be decent enough.
Perfect sample ground. Just finals.
Yeah, I mean, right? Like it's a lot of money. So and he's playing double Tinker Sharpsword Oil, which is has been out of fashion lately because the card's kind of clunky.
Yeah.
When you're losing, it doesn't really do anything useful. And when you play double Tinker Sharpsword Oil, double Sprint, it kind of stretches your preparations a little thin. So it's quite interesting that it's going double Tinker, but I guess to justify that, he put in one South Sea that can as well, which also has been out of favor lately because like it's too out and out a combo card. You don't use it for anything other than the turn you want to win.
Yeah.
Or like to clear like a Flame Imp or something. Other than that, in the mid game, the card doesn't really do anything extremely useful. So I guess he's opting to go for a stickier game in the mid game that is more durable, can push more damage through on turns 3, 4, and 5, and he tries to end the game by turn 8. Oh, another cool innovation on this part is playing Assassin's Blade, which kind of ties into the whole burst plan. Like if you Tinker or you Deadly Poison Assassin's Blade, you whack it with the opponent with it twice, and then you daily poison. Like that's a shitload of damage. So like I think he's not trying to let the game drag too late. He's wanting to play a more aggressive version of Oil Rogue. But I mean, if you were to bring us the ladder now, I don't think I see too many Harrison Jones. So I don't think you get too punished badly by the Assassin's Blade either.
Yeah.
I don't really like I need to try it to know how it plays out. It feels too clunky to me with double Tinker and single Assassin's Blade. Like there's a lot of weird cards to be playing, right? Who knows? And with the Avery and Cleave as well, it's like too many weird drops.
I understand the Scarlet Crusader, but it's kind of, I don't know, that not seeing it, that throws me off a little bit. You know what I mean? If I played against someone for the first time, I'd be like, what? Huh?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what was coming after it.
Maybe that's kind of the intention as well.
Yeah.
You want to throw your opponent off.
Sure.
There's always sort of like a valid reason to bring something that your opponent doesn't expect, because for that very reason, they see that and they don't know what's coming next. But I think these, like the Scarlet Crusader, definitely makes it a little less awkward to play turn 3. As we said before, dropping an SI agent in turn 3 is sort of like really awkward because like, oh, should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I just wait a little bit? And I think, as you were saying, Avery, that this deck is very sort of like it's really aggressive because there's no heal or anything, so he's definitely trying to end it early. So he's only going one direction, and that's all in.
That's what I thought. Like this is kind of a yellow deck. I guess the plan is to throw some minions out early, so it hopefully throws your opponent's game off a little bit. Where instead of it's Oil Rogue, I need to build a board and try to kill him quick. It's kind of, oh god, what am I playing against, and how do I stop this damage real quick? And
why
then
is
you
there
throw
an Assassin's Blade in here?
Yeah, I know but it's only one, thankfully. But
then he's just like hitting you in the face with it, like because that with Tinker's Oil is just it's a lot of damage, and particularly as we said, you get the extra charge is what really just sort of throws the spanner into the works.
You can like, more damage. You can actually just Assassin's Blade like without any of the other pieces in your hand, because 4 charges is a lot. Yeah. And you like wait to draw it over the next 2 to 3 turns. Like that's also good enough. In a way, like playing Assassin's Blade, it saves your mana in like turn 6, 7, 8. I guess at that point you don't really need mana saving. I mean, what I mean by saving mana is basically you need to the thing about Oil Rogue is you need to weapon up almost every turn, because you plan to use the charge. So you want to keep your weapons on 2 charge as much as you can, because you don't know when you will not have time to weapon up, and at some point you won't have a weapon and then you're screwed. So when you want to combo off, you don't have enough mana. So I guess like Assassin's Blade on turn 5, if nothing much is happening on the board, or like you can clear off a specific minion with Assassin's Blade, then you just lay it down. The turn 6, 7, 8, you don't need to worry about weaponing up. You definitely shouldn't worry about weaponing up. What a big misplay that would be, right? You guys Assassin's Blade and you weapon up. Wow, that's disgusting. I think this deck looks more set up to beat Patron Warrior. Doesn't play Boom, so they can't use the Boom bots. It's faster, so the game ends quicker. It only plays 1 Fan of Knives, so like you don't need to Fan of Knives to draw against Patrons, because that's kind of retarded. It looks to be definitely worse against Face Hunter.
That was my thought. Is this is probably pretty weak to quick aggro.
I think it'll do.
In the finals, it'll do like. I was just saying, I don't think he would. Obviously, it's a tournament deck rather than a ladder deck, so he'd probably not expect too many face hunters. Maybe like encounter a bit of Zoo, but he seemed like
I think he'll do the same against Zoo. Honestly, I don't think he'll do worse.
Yeah.
It'll be the same. Like a lot of the cards are the same, and like Scarlet Crusaders actually, like in exchange for playing double Tinker, you have Scarlet Crusader, and you have South Sea that can to like trade early. Like it looks reasonable against Zoo as well.
Sure.
And the Assassin's Blade will end the game quite fast. I think the intention is that you get off like 1 early poison to board clear, and then your second poison is for the kill with the Assassin's Blade. You can kind of raise them from that point. Yeah, it's pretty cool list. I'm definitely gonna try this exact. I'm just gonna take this to ladder, man. I'm gonna see how it goes. Once I lose to like 5 face hunters, then y'all will hear from it. But yeah, I think it's cool that even if a deck that most people think is like, the deck's completed. The list has been found, and we just need to tweak it slightly. There's still players out there who are trying to innovate, trying to find things that work better with it. Yeah, the Scarlet Crusaders are a clear sign of that.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. That's the first thing I went, what?
yeah. Yeah, I think that's the first thing everybody went. I think that's the first thing streamers like, what? What's this doing here?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's cool that people are still innovating with decks that are already like seen as done and dusted. You know,
Yeah.
it makes the meta game more interesting that way.
Right.
Yeah, I
So-
feel like that's all.
So I'll put a link to this this deck list here in the show notes as well, so you can go take a look at it. It's interesting. I'd like to see it in ladder. I don't know how well it do, especially with all those face hunters out there, but hell, I'll give it a try. I need to practice that oil rogue anyway. I'm horrible with that deck.
I think this deck's very harder than the normal Oro.
The traditional.
The Assassin's
Okay.
Blade makes, because of double tinker and
Yeah.
the Assassin's Blade, it makes it a bit weirder. Like you gotta find the perfect spot to play these, and probably it's like lay on hands. Like when you play it, you're probably, because you spend so much mana, you're behind. Like with the Assassin's Blade. So I think it's gonna be more difficult, but that's why Hype played it, because he's like some kind of Oruk master, right? So he can manage the mana cost and everything quite well.
Did not save him for anyone.
Oh.
Spoilers. It did not save him.
He tried.
Oh. All right. Well, next deck. So we'll go to we'll go to Dragon Paladin. We'll drag it in. We'll just go ahead and go there.
Dragon Paladin.
So what? We talked about it last week. What do we feel like? Is anything different? I mean, it is a solid deck, but what has anything changed in a week from what we've talked about?
Is Strifecry had a crack?
I think just generally, more players are realizing how good Volcanic Drake is. Because Shycrow put 2 Volcanic Drake, Kibler put 2 Volcanic Drake. I don't believe he was at 2, but now he's at 2. The card is just it's crazy, man. Like if you're playing like Master for Battle in your deck, like even just 1 Master, 2 Drake, that's good enough, man. The card is crazy. It triggers all your dragon stuff. Like it just sits in your hand for the perfect turn to come out. Against aggro, you wait for like the sweet consecration, and then you Volcanic Drake. It's quite, and then you play something else along with it. It's so much tempo swing. It's ridiculous.
It's like and then value.
Yeah, it's crazy. Man. And the 6/4 is nothing to scoff at. I mean, like it's a very aggressively shaped body. So like I've been playing a lot of the Strifecrow version, which is a lot more aggressive. It doesn't plan to play Sarah or Chromagus as an endgame. I don't believe there's any endgame actually, dragons. It ends the game like very surprisingly. Like you have a 5/5 on the board and a 6/4 on the board, and he's on like 17. He thinks he's safe. And then you choose Silver Champion, Consecration, Blessing of Might. Boom! Out of nowhere. He's dead. Especially the Blessing of Might. It's like the most amazing surprise details you can think of.
I was watching you do that. It's like, well met.
Sick, right?
Well met.
So sick.
And then you can just tell he's down a monitor on the other end. It's just gone straight. His foot's just
put
gone
his
straight
hand
through
to
it.
his laptop screen, like boom.
Yeah,
Blessing of Might.
we talked about Volcanic Drake last week, and whether we didn't know how we felt about it, putting more than 1 in. When did you make the change to 2? Was it this week?
When Strifecrow Kibler did it.
Yeah. So
I feel like it's catching up.
I mean, I don't agree with Kibler's latest version. He doesn't play Master for Battle, but still playing 2 Drake. This I don't really agree with. I think it's a bit too clunky.
Yeah,
it's not a good enough 4-drop. It's like a slightly below average 4-drop. You want to play it for like 2 mana or 0 mana. That's when it's like insane. Other than that, it's very average card.
I don't like playing Haley without Master, because it's like we've been given this excellent card.
Yeah,
exactly.
Fills out the curve, and you don't want to use it. You're just wrong. Just wrong.
I mean, I can see not playing Master, but I can't see playing 2 Drake with no Master. It doesn't make sense to me.
I can see only playing 1 Master, but I don't know.
Yeah, one master is good.
Yeah, I think it's just at least 1. Come on, you need those recruits. They're just good fun.
Are you guys thrown in a quartermaster? I either have 1 or none.
Nah.
I've been
you can't.
trying both.
There's not enough space, man.
Okay.
Like there are too many fives, as we've talked about.
Yeah.
The deck is just too many 5-drops. You can't manage a quartermaster.
Like obviously there's the frozen situation when you get master and quartermaster on turn 8, but other than that, tokens are just too damn useful. Just like as one body, So there's seldom time that they just survive until turn 5, and if they do, you're probably already far enough ahead that it doesn't really matter. You don't
And
need
they will.
to.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
That's all I wanted to say.
They also work really well with the double defender of Argus that most people are running in place of the Sludge Belter. Like you taunt up some tokens on turn 4, so you can like don't do anything dragony until like turn 5 or 6 or something. Yeah.
I don't want to change the subject too much, and this might be something that's so small, but something that I've noticed as I've been playing Handlock is Defender of Argus. People aren't expecting that +1/+1. I think
for Handlock.
Yeah, well, no, I think for anything, I'm telling you, they get so used to, all right, I'm going to do this much damage, and I know that he's going to trade, and it's going to trade even. Like, he's got 4 health, I've got a 4/5 on the board. I know it's going to work out that way. Or whatever it may be. But that's something I've noticed, and then it possibly even heals. I've played against a lot of people that they just don't think around that. They think the math's set. I know that used to not be the case because everyone would play back in the day. Oh goodness, it was like the best card in the game before it got nerfed.
Shattered Sun Cleric.
Yeah.
Nat Pagel.
No, not Shattered Sun. Nat Pagel. Yeah. No, here. Shattered Sun Cleric. I'm sorry. Yes.
When it was a 3/3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was around the time Argus was a 3/4 as well. Which is
yeah.
It was a 3/3. It was a 3/3.
3/3. That's right. Yeah.
3/4. What? Wow, that's crazy. It's like 5/6 or stats of 4 mana. That's like Hungry Dragon.
Yeah. No. Yeah. 3/3. Because he just became like a machine himself. Just beast mode. And when Dark Iron Dwarf, his effect was permanent. Yeah.
I think that one's a bit less relevant. The other two were more crazy. I guess that means you can just like Dark Iron something like whenever you want. You don't need to consider when you want to play it. That's the difference.
Yeah.
But that sounds quite small compared to like Shattered Sun 3/3. How about like Defias Ringleader 2/3?
Yeah.
That was like what?
Yeah.
It's so good.
I mean, again, I didn't want to go off too far. I just that's something I've noticed. I had a couple win streaks and people just underestimated it. I think
it's more of.
Go ahead.
I think it's more of they don't expect it. I mean, like they probably know it's coming, but they just don't have the opportunity to play around it. Like they gotta hope you don't have it. If not, they're screwed.
I think
they go face.
I think sometimes I notice plays where it's like, oh, you should have traded. That's a good trade. Where they could have had a free giant kill. And I think you if it's Handlock, you expect to see that card in there, but I've only played against one this week so far, so I haven't seen very many, but it's done pretty well for me. I'm happy on the Handlock.
It's pretty good against what we're playing against currently, because no one has a fun time dealing with 8/8 with taunt, with the taunt buff. It's just clunky, and then they want to save the BGH for the boom, and having to BGH a giant, it's like gonna get behind. But I think
you gotta play around the Moltons. If your deck's not built to beat Handlock, you gotta play around the Moltons.
Yeah.
Though sometimes playing around the Moltons is a mistake. If you don't have enough damage to kill them from like 15, in like your deck's not built that way. Like you're playing Paladin, right? You can't like kill someone from 15. Then then you kind of can't play around Moltons. Because it'll never be a good time to push him low anyway.
Yeah.
So you might as well just push him low on the turn. Because if the lower you push him low, the less likely he is to have Moltons. Especially with the Warlock tap, like to draw like the hero power.
Sure.
It really increases the likelihood of him getting Moltons the later you delay it. So you might as well like just push him to 8 as early as you can with a deck that can't burst in.
Right.
If you're playing like Oil Rogue, then I don't think you should do that. Oil Rogue, you kind of hang him around at 17, 16 and burst him from there, because your deck has the potential for that burst.
Yeah.
It depends on what deck you're playing.
I feel like it's almost all right. You either got to go for it, or you're definitely just gonna lose.
Yeah, exactly.
I get again, depending on the deck that you play. I had a druid hover me around 21 health.
Druid, because you got combo.
Yeah, exactly. He had me hovering, and he had exactly 21 damage on it turned 7.
Wow.
He had a 5/5 on the board, and he I don't know if he top deck innervate, but he had 9 mana. So he
wrecked you.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's the short story. Yeah. 21.
And of course I had double molt in my hand and a taunt, so I'm like, oh please, come on, hit me, come on. And he wouldn't do it. So
and the even more brutal thing is you have like double molten giant and then heal bot. It's just like, well,
yeah, right.
That's just not fair. It's
right.
Like, you're supposed to have low health when you get to play this, but now you don't. I definitely think like committing all in is fine because there's definitely going to be situations where they don't have it, and you just win those situations.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's situations where you have molten giants but no taunt, and you'll probably win those situations, or you only have one molten giant and a taunt, so you only get taunted. So like I think if you know that your deck isn't going to be able to burst from 15, you just be like, all right, screw it, YOLO, all in, and then you're going to win. You're going to win a good percentage of the time, though, still.
Yeah.
It's just everyone's stuck with that mind frame of, oh, God, if I push him to 9, there's going to be 2 giants and a defender of Argus, and I'm not going to win the game.
And then Jiraxis. Once I think I get through. Then come Jiraxis.
I hate that card, man.
Yeah.
Like, play like Zoo, you're like, yes, he's on 3. He's on 3. I have like a 4/4 and a 5/5. You can't deal with this mofo, and then like boom, Jiraxis.
I tell you what though, the games where I've gotten Thaurissan down and had Jiraxis in my hand, so turn 10 I got Jiraxis and a 6/6 is that's so good.
Oh, you're playing Thaurissan in your handlock. That's what do you cut for it, man? Sylvanas?
Yes, yeah, I do not have Sylvanas. Yeah.
I don't like that.
Fun fact that Thaurissan will, for spells that are 0 mana or spells you get to 0 mana, will continue to count against Lothab. So if you play Thaurissan and you have like a circle of healing, and then your opponent plays Lothab, it'll cost like it'll cost 5 minus 1, so it'll only cost 4.
Oh, is it? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's
fun
sick.
fact.
Blizzard can do math.
Well, yeah, it just continues, but this is what the Crip said this on stream in the Hearthstone challenge thing last night that was a thing, and I was like, so basically I'm saying he's correct. So if he's not, it's his fault. No. Yeah, so there's potential to go below 0 when Lothab's involved.
Mike, do you really like the Thaurissan? I don't know. It feels very.
I do. I net decked and then kind of.
You monster!
I know. Oh, it was just an interesting build, and I was like, what the hell? We'll try it without Sylvanas, and it's, I don't know. It's worked out for me. I mean, so Druid destroys me. I think, like I said in the intro, I think I'm like at a 20 or 30% win rate against them. They mess me up, but
so low. I don't think the matchup is that bad.
For me, it is.
Okay.
It just I remember some of those games. It was just I was not getting anything. I had a bunch of spells and just nothing to play. I'd have a not a Siphon Soul, a
Shadow Flame.
Yes, thank you. I had a Shadow Flame and nothing to trigger it. It's brutal. Or I wouldn't have enough cards to play a giant, or my health was too high to play a mountain giant, or whatever it may be. Or I'd have nothing but taunt givers, but nothing to buff up. Like there's no point
in
playing.
You just taunt givers at that point. It's like I need to. Make
I guess
a wall.
at one point you have to, yeah.
Argus, Sun Fury Protector or something retarded. Like,
the best. Yeah, it's the Sun Fury Argus, second Argus. Like
Sun Fury Argus, second Argus.
Yeah, but yeah. So
I'm all out of taunts, boys.
What is the Thaurissan actually like? Like, what are you aiming for?
Well, the games again. Most games, I'm gonna have a full hand, and it works out great. I think I'm at a 66% win rate right now.
That's true. You have a lot of cards to read.
I mean, so yeah, it's. I wish I had it in the Druid game. I don't know, and it's very aggro. Built for aggro. It's got double hellfire. What does it have in it? It's got a bunch of
one heal bot or
2 heal bots.
And the Jiraxis.
And a Jiraxis.
And a Jiraxis. Double dark bomb, double mortal coil. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, double mortal coil. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's enough targets anymore for a.
It works really. I do really well against the straight aggro decks.
It's just for these two.
Both. I mean, if I get a bad hand, they'll beat me. But that's what it takes is a bad hand. The kind of mid-range hunter does okay against me. I guess it depends. There's a point where I'll get my taunts up and there's nothing they can do. But
yeah, and you heal bot.
Yeah, so it's really just a bad hand against hunters. If I get a bad hand, then I lose. Right? Yeah.
I would think your druid matchup was better than you think it is. I think because of it's the same thing, because you just get the taunts up, because druid just has such a shit time with the taunts, they either have to burn like a combo or because swipe doesn't clear shit anymore.
I haven't played against a lot of them, so I don't have a very good test pool to go from. Okay. It's been mostly hunter and mage. Those are my top classes. It's probably half of. I think I've got Wednesday. I think I've got 40 or 50 games in. So, and half of them were those two classes at least. I'm trying to think, but
so many mages just floating around.
It's so and it's everything like freeze mage. Oh, GG, I win. I don't think I've lost against a freeze mage yet, but mech mage again, good hand. They'll beat me, and tempo mage again. It's just RNG. Either they just swarm me or they don't stand a chance. But yeah, I need to. I wonder if at this point, like I'm rank 11, I wonder if I can lay off maybe take some anti-aggro out, maybe the mortal coils I can take out.
Well, I
think you put one. You definitely
have one.
Yeah. And one mortal coil, one hellfire. I don't think you need two.
Okay, yeah, I've got 2. And
are you playing double shadow flame still?
No, 1 shadow flame.
Okay. So normally people play they play 2 shadow flame, 1 hellfire, 2 hellfire, 1 shadow flame. So you can permutate that based on what you like. The Siphon Soul, it's quite strange that it's an anti-aggro version of the Siphon Soul, because Siphon Soul's been out of fashion for a while. Right? You play 1, right?
I've got 1, yeah.
I think you can keep that in if you're aiming for anti-aggro meta.
Well,
you're aiming for not anti-aggro, for more control-y looking deck. Siphon Soul's pretty good.
That guarantees a win against priests.
I like having the Sylvanas back because you can Sylvanas Shadow Flame. It's a lot stronger than it looks.
That might be what I trade out. Maybe a Mortal Coil and put in a Sylvanas.
That curve.
Yeah,
I know.
I one drop. Put a 6 in.
I don't lose against aggro. I think that was this guy's goal.
Yeah, probably. And the Taurison makes the whole deck cheaper.
Yeah, so I mean, I power leveled all the way from 19, 18 all the way to 13, and then it was just kind of back and forth there for I guess part of that day. But I mean, I was on a win streak the whole way, so it worked out there. But it might be time to, as I hit the different ranks, it might be time to switch it up a little bit. Yeah, I need to take a look at this again. I've been kind of sitting at. I'll get halfway through 11 and drop back to 12, and I've done that twice now. So it probably is time. I just, I logged off last I don't know 5 games I played with it when I was stuck there. So, but yeah, we'll update that. Take a look at that. Other deck we want to talk about. Was it Patron Warrior?
Sure.
Yeah.
We could talk about the Patron Warrior.
We can always talk about Patron Warrior.
I mean, if you guys want to.
In terms of deck updates, I think most people are moving past the cycle list. The cycle list being the list that plays Gnomish Inventors and Loot Hoarders and a lot of cycling cards. They're moving towards more of a Control Warrior shell with with Sludge Belchers and Armor Smiths. What? Do they play Shredder? I think I saw some lists play 1 Shredder. Just to as a Gnomish Inventor replacement that can hold out. And I think the concept of this is that you can't play a combo until turn 8 or 9.
Yeah.
So you can kind of afford to wait on the cards. You don't need to like draw them as soon as you possibly can. You know? So and you can win through other means that are not the Grim Patron, basically.
Are they still playing Brawl? Or did
I
they
never played Brawl because
I
it's
don't
like
think they will.
Yeah.
yeah,
they do or they don't? Say that one more
They
time.
don't.
They don't play Brawl.
I was thinking like that obviously gives you a card slot, but you kind of want their minions on the board. I guess unless you get a clutch whirlwind or something. But
yeah, that's one. That's one way you win early games is if they've got an abundance of minions that that have less than 3 attack. Then it's just sort of like you bounce the patrons off, and that's when you win like with the frothing berserker because it just gets too much attack and just one hits them. It's just fun times.
One card's been wrecking me. Oh, sorry.
That's all right, go on.
Yeah, one card has been wrecking me, man. Like from Warrior, normally control Warrior, Revenge. Holy son of a
really?
gun. I've been destroyed by that card. It's ridiculous.
No kidding.
I'm not kidding.
Well,
I played Zoo.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Completely and utterly destroyed. Like I have no cards in hand. His Revenge just wiped my entire board. Like I played for like 2 turns and I'm like, okay, he doesn't have the brawl. If you brawl, he would brawl here, and I'm like, let's go all in. And I went all in, and then like he just like Revenge, blah, and like my board's just gone. Holy shit, that card! I think it's like I don't know if it's good enough to be like consistently played tournament wise, but on ladder if you're facing a lot of Zoo, Revenge is a very good choice. Man.
What do you think? Just a one of?
Yeah. I think
okay.
You kind of have two mana whirlwinds. It's like that's just too cheeky.
Or it could be a 4 mana Flame Strike. A little weaker. Come on.
Yeah, so good, man. It's more than Flame Strike. It's like a 5. Wait, that's 3 damage, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, so it's 6. Yeah. Well, when you're underneath the health. Yeah.
That card, decent, man.
Yeah, when you get to the danger zone, it's it's. I don't think it's consistent. It's going to be okay every now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a ladder card. It's a card just for ladder. Like if you're playing against too much, like swarmy aggro decks that are not face hunter, that card is pretty crazy.
Mm.
For example, Mech Mage, you could dump.
Yeah, that's crazy against Mech Mage. I think after Gara posted his like thing on Tempo Style, Mech Mage is not dead, guys, and then everyone's playing Mech Mage again.
Yes, they are.
It was gone for like 2 weeks, and it just takes one streamer to post something, and suddenly it's back.
It's like, oh yeah, this is good. I made Legend. Everyone now plays it. I think this has just got shut on with like the rise of the more control orientated Zoo because it's just beat the board, and now that Zoo's sort of gone away a little bit. Well, diversified almost, and there are more Patron Warriors. It's just fluctuation.
Moral of the story: ladder's really fun now. There are a lot of different kinds of decks. So it's fun to play.
I agree.
Don't ladder people. Ladder's never fun. What are you saying? No one. It's like doing cardio. No one has fun doing cardio, but we all know we need to do it. It's just have to. I need to get on this treadmill and just sweat it out.
A little inside baseball before we started streaming. Matt was not happy about there being basically 5 types of mages on ladder right now.
It's just shit. It's just like, and then there's subcategories. The subcategories like this Flame Waker maze. There's like not a consistent build, so it's just it's It's Thug Life is hard. It's just. Then you get those mana worms that just grow uncontrollably, and it's like, oh god, leave me alone. Please don't die.
I think against such a meta, you kind of want to play the deck that has the best game against everybody. To me, that's Zoo. It's definitely not Druid anymore because Zoo and like I don't know mirror entity decks just completely wreck Druid.
Yeah,
I haven't seen many Druids recently.
So hard as a Druid. It's like, do I want to give them a key? Nothing is good, like unless you have a zombie chow.
Yeah,
Keeper's
like
okay.
The only thing you want. Keep is like the next, I guess, next least bad thing to give them, but it's not good because it's got 4 health. 4 health is just like
I've been seeing a lot of counter spells in mage decks too.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah. Obviously, the duplicate or the mirror entities, what everyone's playing, but I've played against quite a few that they're playing counters. I don't know if it's one of or two of, but
It's
I don't know. It's probably one of. Yeah.
Yeah, two mirror entity, one counter spell, just to
Be real
just
greedy.
to f with people.
Yeah.
It's really annoying. I like sometimes you just know, like I was playing a patron game where I had like a 0 mana whirlwind and a 1 mana whirlwind. I was like, all right, I'll play the 0 mana one just to trigger the counter spell, and it was, and it's just like, haha, now I get to shit on you with my 1 mana whirlwind.
Oh man. Any other changes you guys think? I mean, that's pretty. Those are the big ones. Yeah.
Patron, no.
Okay.
It's just, I think, like, as with all decks that are based on cards from BRM, the decks are still being found. They're not like at their finalized versions, and they continue to be tweaked depending on how the meta's looking and stuff.
Which that's exciting, since this was
it is.
a comparative to last release. This was a small deck, 30 cards versus what was it, 200 and
I mean, as with the same in Next, like, because they give you so few, most of the cards are good. So, right?
Yeah, sure.
It makes it it makes the deck building more fun, because now, like, that out of these 30, there are fewer cards to sift through, like rubbish cards to sift through, like Cobra Shot, and you actually like arrive at the good stuff, and you can deck build.
Come on, nothing. Hey, come on, consistency. Cobra Shot into Cobra Shot into Arcane Golem. That's winning. That's gameplay winning right there. Come on.
What? That's not Cobra Shot.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Quick Shot. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Cobra Shot's the 5 mana, deal 3 damage to random minion, and heal.
Hey, any damage in 100 deck's good, right?
That card's horrible.
I know it is.
The worst. It's the worst card in the whole of GVG.
So
there's not a single card worse than Cobra Shot.
So what you're telling me is you don't run 2 of in your 100 deck. Is that what you're telling me?
Cobra Shot. No.
Can't confirm.
So with Hunter out of the way, I mean, so I got to ask: is there any hope for Shaman? Any hope?
I actually think that Fireguard Destroyer is pretty good.
Sure,
I mean, everything's pretty good, but I think it's like reviving the deck a little.
I want to see the Shaman come back.
I don't think I've lost to a Shaman in like a long time.
Yeah, but that's because you're playing Face Hunter, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah, no, that's what I was doing. Yeah, just shitting out. I was just farming all the Shamans with my Face Hunter.
When I'm playing like Tally or that Dragon Warrior, which I think we'll get to in a second, Shaman's pretty tough. The minion, like the Fireguard Destroyer, is pretty insane. It's like you have to commit like, if you're playing like just some typical warrior woes, the kind of cards that you don't want to see are large and cheap. So like Hungry Dragon is kind of like a warrior nightmare, or Fireguard Destroyer, because like your weapons aren't enough to clear it, but you don't want to shield slam it because you want to save a shield slam for something more like irritating, like something bigger. But you don't want to execute it either, because execute's like for something huge. You can't brawl because there are too few minions. So you kind of got to tank it with the weapon and like do weird shit in order to like clear it eventually. It's man, like those kind of minions, like Hungry Dragon, 5 mana 5/5s, 4 mana 5/6s in 4 mana 6/6s, 7/6s, depending on what Fireguard Destroyer is. These cards are so difficult for warrior. I think that's probably what that Shaman deck's good against. It's good against warrior because of that minion alone. So good.
Well, with that, and you just good segue, sir. Dragon Warrior.
Yeah.
So you found this one, and this is played, I guess, more on the, or has it been made popular in the Asian region?
General deck overview. The reason why people are so interested in trying Dragon Warrior, and it's not just this, the list that I send the guys, and I guess maybe will be in the show notes, is it made #1 legend in Asian server. But it's not just this in Asia that this deck's popular. Raynet tried it for a while. I think Crypt did as well. Tides of Time did as well. Like, the reason why Dragon Warrior is being tried so much is because it inherently lends itself to the warrior plan, right? You plan to play huge end game card. You try to drag the game, control the game all the way to the end. Have huge end game threats that they cannot deal with, and you have no cards in hand, and you just win the game. And the best dragon, and the only tweak you have to make in order to play your like dragon synergy cards is change your end game cards to dragons. And most warriors already play Sarah. All of them definitely already play Alex.
Mm-hmm.
So you just gotta slip in one extra Nefarian, and you got 3 dragons ready to go. So the list that I'm talking about now, it doesn't really do a lot of dragony things. It's just 3 endgame dragons, 2 Blackwing Corruptors, and that's all it needs in terms of dragon stuff. It doesn't go for the Blackwing Blackwing Technician, sorry. So I liked it because like for this period I was getting extremely lucky in my Corruptors and like drawing dragons at exactly the times that I needed them in order to hit the 3 damage. It helps out a lot against Zoo. It's a 5/4 body, so it's irritating, like a mid-range threat that warrior kind of wanted but never really had because you're playing like double Shield Maiden already and Slash Belchers. You kind of want one more like mid-range thing to kind of seal out the early game that your weapons couldn't clear and like move into the mid to end game. And Corruptor was a good fit for that slot.
Yeah.
The problem is when you don't draw the dragons, the card is terrible. Like, I mean, okay, it's not terrible because the 5/4 is still fine, but when you put it in your deck to seal early game stuff and you don't have a dragon, it doesn't seal early game at all. It's just a 5/4 that dies, which is kind of sad. Yeah, so I kind of gave up on this list and just played a more consistent control warrior. One thing that I learned from it though, the Nefarian is pretty sweet. It's really sweet. Like, it's a good card. For real. Nefarian's sick.
Plus 2 any cards, yeah. I was like Nefarian, and it's I just know. So sometimes I just know what cards I'm gonna get. Like I was playing against the warrior, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna damage this minion because I know I'm gonna get an execute.
Rampage?
I go execute. It's just like, yes, just it's gonna. You just have to will the cards from Nefarian. It'll happen. You have to will the Pyroblast in to win the game. Things like that. It's just, I need it. I want it now.
I still haven't gotten the dream, man. I haven't hit what's it called? Sack Pack against Jiraxxus yet.
Ooh.
I've been like, come on, man. I really need this to happen at least once to validate the variant for me. Yeah.
Yeah, the real dream is to get a combo off Druid. It's like, oh, Savage Draw, you know?
Oh, wow, yeah.
Destination is just like, haha, next turn, just win the game with a Roared in Nefarian and 3 Treants. It's just...
That's actually so fucking ridiculous, like, getting combo. How do you lose the game from that point? Like?
Right.
Exactly. It's like, you look back at the game to where the game just turned, and that was it, where you pulled combo from Nefarian.
I like it in Warrior, like even if you don't play any dragon stuff, because it's just another endgame threat. It's pretty sweet.
Doesn't need to be dragon relevant to be good. Just like you, Sarah and Alex Strauser, it just sort of has its own value, and the fact that it's a dragon is a bonus.
Yeah.
So, do you feel like or you just said you felt like it wasn't consistent enough? I'm assuming that's just because of Blackwing Corruptor.
Yes.
Okay.
The rest of the deck is just Control Warrior, so that deck is consistent.
And this deck, again, I'll have the show notes for the listeners, but it runs 2 of. So you think that it makes that big of a deal, I guess?
I mean, like, you got to think of what you're cutting. I mean, you're cutting an Armor Smith and, like, another tech slot. So, Harrison or...
Yeah, sure.
Or Rag, maybe? I guess you're not playing Rag because you're playing Nefarian, but like you're playing like Nefarian instead of Rag or Gorehowl. Oh yeah, you're not playing Gorehowl.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Okay, sure.
Like it lessens the consistency because like in order to justify cutting those great cards, your Corruptor has to hit a lot, you know? And it just didn't hit enough for me. And I don't foresee playing like Hungry Dragon or Volcanic Drake in this deck. Like in like a Control Warrior shell, those cards just don't work. They're not good enough. They don't fit in the game plan. So like maybe if I were to cut to 1 Corruptor and like play something like the second Armor Smith, I think that probably would be the way to take the list. Because 2 Corruptors is too many, I feel. It's too inconsistent. The cut to play 2 off.
I'm gonna try this week.
Mm.
I want to try it. I just want to see.
It's
Get
cool.
a dabble.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my toes in, dabble.
I just say it's really cool. Like the first few games I played is like sweet. Blackwing Corruptor, and then it just like dominates the board. Like, oh, this deck's awesome. But after like enough reps with the deck, then you realize, oh man, you get more of the games with the Corruptors are not working out, and then you're like, oh shit, this is not.
I wish
This may not be that good.
I wish Tom was here for this discussion. I think he'd pass out.
Yeah, he would. I don't think he would have made it to this point in the game. He'd just sort of be like, the change to warrior and everything is sort of be. I don't think his little heart could take it.
No. So for those of you who are new, Tom just soup. He loathes the control hunter. That is his
Control warrior.
controller. I'm sorry.
He
I keep
doesn't like
saying control hunter
either.
No, he doesn't.
Confirmed, he's not a fan.
Control warrior he hates. So I'd like to get his opinion on the dragon deck. See if that's any different.
Yeah,
It's the same deck. Like it's not made much different from a control warrior.
It's just dragon themed. It's,
Yeah.
and with massive mid game potential with the Blackwing Corruptors.
And you still got room for a brawl in there. That's good.
Yep.
You don't have room for two though.
No.
I guess like the double brawl tech was coming in against who was what? It was like 3 weeks back, right? Double brawl.
Yeah. But no one expects that second brawl.
The second brawl.
Yeah, no one expects it. It's good against Pelly and Zoo, I think.
Yeah, sure.
Other than that, against most decks, one brawl is enough to win. Or I guess like if you brawl and like you're like a good minion lives, next turn brawl again, like round 2, just the following turn. Doctor Boom, you're not gonna live this time.
You will not live.
So I mean, those are the decks. Any other ones you want to talk about, or is that pretty much the big ones for this week? You guys think? I mean, I haven't noticed anything other than that.
No, this is the end of my noticing things.
Yeah,
that's all as well for me.
Well, so then we'll go ahead and move into, I guess, a topic that we want to talk about this week: variants. I guess in gameplay and card games in general. I personally been reading, trolling the forums a little bit and just reading online, and I'm surprised at the number of complaints, and maybe it's just the loud minority of people who they complain about RNG and variants, and it like to me, Hearthstone is a card game. It's not chess. That's what a card game is. There's some luck. I don't care if you have the best deck in the world. You're gonna lose. You're not gonna have a 100% win rate.
Yeah.
So yeah, we who wants to start? We'll just go there.
Say that that I guess one of the fun bits about Hearthstone is that there are no guarantees. Like you can sit down against Strifecrow or Kalento or someone and still win a decent percentage of the time, and that's fun for people. I think.
Yeah, didn't a rank 25 beat Amaz a couple months back, right?
That was in the Asia server, right?
Well, I don't know.
Basic mage deck, yeah. It was a basic mage deck against his like stacked priest, and he got wrecked by basic mage cards, arcane missiles, and like water elementals. It was amazing.
So, for those of you playing at home, you too can beat Amaz
on the Asian server.
On the Asian server with a basic deck.
Probably on any server. But yeah, so some people like that sort of I guess part of the game, and some people really hate the game, that part of the game. And it's the same, I guess that's sort of like appealing, the same sort of appeal as something like poker has, in that there are no real guarantees and you can beat anyone 100% of the time, not 100%, a decent percentage of the time, because of the way the game works. And that sort of volatility makes it appealing to a wider audience.
If you think about the games that Hearthstone was inspired by, man, you Hearthstone players have it lucky. Because I used to play Magic.
Ooh.
And I mean, like, Magic is the ultimate variance game. The reason why, like, I feel like I'm more used to variance than people who came to this game from, like, who came to Hearthstone from, like, Dota or LoL, League of Legends, rather, is that, because in Magic, you know, like in Hearthstone, your mana crystals, right? In Magic, you don't have mana crystals, you have lands that you play every turn. and these lands are cards in your hand. So two situations happen about 70% of the time. Either you draw too many lands and you don't draw enough spells or enough things to do with the mana, or you don't draw any lands and you can't play anything. And these happen all the time. Any deck will always face either one of these situations at like a reasonable percentage of the time. And you just lose games like that for no reason. And I feel like that's far higher variance than I ever see in Hearthstone.
Yes, I agree.
Right? And I guess you get used to it because that's the nature of that game. Well, the nature of Hearthstone is that because it's a computer game, they can program RNG, luck-based things into it, like Piloted Shredder, like Dr. Boom's Boombots. Like, these are things that they fit into the game because it's on a computer, right? So, I think that as players of games that inherently, like, variance makes games exciting. The reason why we continue to be like, most people play computer games rather than play like chess is because variance is inherently thrilling to us. It's kind of like the gambling thrill, like, oh, what am I gonna get? What am I gonna get? What's gonna happen? You know. So, and I think we have to accept it if you want to enjoy Hearthstone. It's never gonna leave Hearthstone. It will always be a part of Hearthstone. And if you don't like variance, you really like at all, like you hate it, you shouldn't be playing. I think any video game in general.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like even in Dota.
Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Even like Dota, like the damage variations, like your normal attack can give you this and this, and the guy leaves the fight on 3 health and he manages to escape. That's variance. Because, or like another game that people like to say, fighting games, Street Fighter, Tekken. There's very little variances, it's all skill, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of the way the animations queue or the matchups that you're gonna get with the different characters against each other, that's also variance in a way. Every single thing we do in life, there's always variance. Even in chess. I mean, like, who knows on the day itself, suddenly you're like, oh man, I forgot this line that I used to remember to play all the time. And like, he brought me down like this side variation that I used to know, but the life of me, I just didn't bother revising this the night before. That's, in a way, variance, right? If you play against a good opponent or a lousy opponent, but the lousy opponent plays a sideline that like of chess that he's like extremely good at, like that's the only line he's good at, and you're terrible at the line. Like it goes down a path, a position in the game that you are extremely uncomfortable with. That's variance in a way because you could have gotten the other player who's maybe better but plays positions that you're more familiar with, right? So all these factors are all like luck. Life has variance.
Life is
never
luck.
gonna escape variance.
There are no guarantees.
Exactly. So like you just gotta accept that this is gonna be a part of Hearthstone. It's gonna be a part of any game you play. It's gonna be a part of living just luck and randomness. So yeah, that's like my spiel on variance.
It's really variance is really brutal, particularly like because it's such a wide topic because it can be applied to so many things. But one thing it's definitely likened to a lot in Hearthstone is definitely win streaks and losing streaks. And we all know in Hearthstone, losing streaks are brutal and winning streaks are fantastic. And it's interesting. This is another thing that's sort of like similar to how poker players go through their lives is how variance influences your mood and how it makes you feel. Because like we've all sort of like wanted to throw our monitor away after losing 3 or 4 games in a row and getting demoted in Hearthstone, and it's just like, nah, fuck this, RNG has ruined me, and it's just like I hate this game. And then when you win 5 games in a row, you're like on top of the world, and it's just that's why I try not to play Hearthstone all the time before I go to bed, because it's like sometimes I'll go to bed really happy, other times I'm just like, no, I hate my life because it's just not be in a good mood. And I think that's one bit why Hearthstone cops a lot of flack for the variance, is because people get angry about variance when they lose, because it's sometimes you have to, the ultimate, I guess, like Zen way to look at it is you can't be results orientated in Hearthstone, which is like obviously counterproductive to the idea of getting to legend and stuff. But if you have to, I guess, be above results in the short term and instead of thinking of it as one game, think about your entire Hearthstone career as like that's what matters. So as long as the idea is to try and make good decisions every time and regardless of the outcome. And in theory, over the length of your Hearthstone career, you'll win more games than you lose, and because and hopefully you'll be happier than angry, I guess.
I think like one of the big things that people get annoyed about, and I've read this a lot in a lot of sites and articles about dealing with tilt in poker and in Hearthstone and in other games that I play, is this sense of entitlement. When you feel like you're the better player, so you deserve to win the game. I think you got to give yourself a reality check. Like when you're at that point where you get so mad, like you don't deserve to win this, I deserve to win this. No one deserves to win anything. Like it depends on how the cards come and how the cards go. The guy might have made a slight mistake that you're judging him for, but in another game you could have made a slight mistake and you still won the game anyway, right? So like this game is about just making the best decisions you can, and hopefully that leads to a better outcome. Whether or not you win is besides the point. Like that is something you cannot control, like the RNG and stuff like that. So you should just not feel so. I myself ran into this problem where like you just get so mad, like you just lost the first game to like ridiculous boombot RNG or something, or like lightning storm rolling high or rolling low RNG, and after that like you get mad. The next game you make a small mistake that in another game would not be very relevant, but in that particular game that was very close, it became relevant and you lost. You get mad again, right? And then you go on and you spiral out of control. You start blaming like variance for everything, when actually your play is just becoming worse and worse because of your mood, suffering, as Matt was talking about. And I think like you kind of gotta hit the Zen mode when you're playing. If you want to take Hearthstone seriously, or you gotta play for a very like long period of time, you gotta like, okay, I'm just gonna do the best I can. Win, lose, doesn't matter. Not gonna let it affect me. And like the moment you realize it's starting to affect you, that's when you should stop playing for the day or like for that few hours, because your win rate's just gonna suffer more and you're just gonna tilt more and lose more as a result. Because in Hearthstone, the game is already like in a way inherently like simple. The kind of high advanced decisions that like very skilled decisions that players will make that differentiate like the truly great from the good are very minimal in Hearthstone. So like the game is already such that any small mistake can honestly just cost you the entire game. Just that one very minor misstep, like sequencing your knife juggler stuff wrongly and just missing a chance to kill a 2-1 on the board, right? Or not trading some stuff in and then playing knife juggler and then implosioning, but instead playing knife juggler, implosion, and then trade. If you did it the other way around, you could have got a complete board clear. But because you didn't, he had some minions, it continued to snowball, you lost the game from that point because of your minor mistake that could have give you like 5 or 6 additional percentage points to win that game in a matchup. So like just don't let like, because small mistakes are so relevant, and when you're angry and tilted, you're more likely to be making small mistakes. When you are realizing you're getting to that point, don't try and justify like I can win all the stars back. It's kind of like the gambling mentality. Like I can win the money back when I lose.
I'll just put another $1,000. I can win all my money back. It'll be fine.
It just doesn't work that way. Just take a break, come back tomorrow fresher and ready to just play Hearthstone rather than like feeling angry and needing to win the game in order to validate your Hearthstone existence.
To be fair though, when you're that angry and you want to like win back your money, it's really hard to walk away. But one thing I guess to do if you notice yourself you're tilting but you don't really want to stop playing is just to take longer turns, because that's one thing that you can do. Is like the more time you spend on a decision, I think when you're tilted is probably is better, because there's more chance of rational thought leaking into your thought process than just like impulsive plays. So if you can, if you're tilting, try and rope every turn, and you should be fine. It should help you back onto the path of correct decision making.
A little lesson from life coach. That's probably why he's so good, right? He doesn't tilt. I've never seen him angry.
Well, because he's a poker player. He was a professional poker player, so he's used to this sort of thing, which is sort of like an unfair advantage almost. It's just like he's playing up against like people like RDU, who's like sub 20 years old and just will like probably rage like a motherfucker just because of how young he is. It's just he has life experience, and Hearthstone is a game that definitely benefits from life experience. It's just cool to be cool, calm, and collected. It's probably a reason that you shouldn't play Hearthstone while you're tired, but then I suppose people play it because they want to relax, but maybe ladder isn't the best thing.
Yeah,
particularly arena or something.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I think ladder anxiety is a big thing too. People weren't trying to get to a rank, and then they'll get to rank 3 and then drop 3 ranks back to 6, and I think that a lot of people get upset about that too. Or they'll get to a rank and then they'll just stop playing because it's like, oh, I don't know if I can make it to legend, so I'm just gonna try to hold it here. Because it's gonna be horrible if I finish the season rank 10. I'm at rank 3. What happens if I drop down?
Well, it sort of comes back to that notion of entitlement. Is like that feeds a lot into, I guess, a bit of ladder anxiety, in that people have this sense of where they should be rather than where they actually are. So I think protecting your rank for people is like a big thing, because they don't want to be associated with the lower rank. But one thing you have to realize, in order to just play to get to legend, is you need to just keep playing. And when it'll go up or go down, you have to play more games. And I think that feeds into a lot of people's, I guess, anger towards variants. Is there will generally be people who don't play a lot of games, because if you think that one bit of RNG over 3 games, it makes up a pretty decent percentage, whereas one bad boom bot over 30 games makes much less difference. So if you're playing fewer games, you're much more prone to bigger swings of variance, just by definition of variance in mathematics.
Yeah, right.
And playing more games also like means that, like, if you're likely to get, say, like, you play 3 games and you get 1 bad dose of like RNG, bad variance or whatever. If you play 30 games, you're more likely to like get a few good hits of RNG in your favor. So like that makes you feel better about it. Your luck kind of balanced out that way.
Now, I think there is something to say. For example, Avery, last month at the end of your month, you had some decisions to make about whether you wanted to play or not at your rank.
Yeah.
Because if variance kicks in, you can lose a lot.
Exactly.
That's a gamble. Like going to legend again. I agree with you guys. Just play. If you're above 50% win rate, you're gonna get to legend if you play enough games.
If there's nothing to lose, you shouldn't worry about it.
Right. But like for you, example, I mean, at so you finished what, 62 last
61
season?
Or 62.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you so let's say you lost a game, do you go back half, or is it half of the person you played against? Does that make sense?
Like it doesn't work that way. The so to speak, elo of your opponent doesn't count in.
It doesn't. Okay.
Ranks. It doesn't. They obviously have a vested interest not to review their calculations on ladder, because like it's a bit, then it becomes very like easy to read and do mathematics and how to take advantage of it and stuff. So I think Blizzard's very clever in not like letting us know exactly how they do it. But I believe it is a factor of if I'm not wrong, it's your win percentage in the past certain number of games.
Whoa.
Oh, really?
Like 30 games? 35? I don't know, certain number, like 30 or 40 games. Yeah. It's a win percentage. That's the way they count it.
That's so, like, brutal.
It is.
Wow.
So like the last game I played that season, when I jumped from 92 to 56, I believe 56 or 57, like in one game I jumped that much. That means that all the players' win percentages were all very, very tight. Like between like 92 and 50 something, and I managed to like leapfrog all the way up. Yeah. So a lot of complaints actually have been made about ladder. This is a kind of side topic, but like since the start of Hearthstone, a lot of people have been complaining that the way legend works is not very fair, because like if I play in a game that's inherently about 50% win rate either way, like assuming all decks and all opponents matchups and all opening hands is about 50%, and maybe if you're very good, 55 to 60%. Like if I win 2 games and I lose 2 games, I'm definitely going to drop ranks. Or like I win 1, lose 1, I'll definitely not be as high as before. So how is it that a game that's around 50% win rate, or like that's roughly where all matchups lie, have come to a point whereby I have to win like 2 games and lose 1 game, or like win 7 games and lose 5 in order for me to climb rank? It just feels very unfair. It doesn't make sense. And I feel like that's the case. I think they need to find a way to change the way the season works and how Legend works. Definitely not this year because they've already figured out that BlizzCon is like gonna like all the points are gonna add up for BlizzCon this year, so they can't change the system this year. But maybe over like after BlizzCon, that like December season, they just do a big overhaul. Maybe in the works now. I'm not sure, but I think they really need to find a way to improve the system.
I think they will. I think because like after this year, I think repeating the same thing next year would make it pretty stale. Because
Yeah,
they
it would.
even innovated for this year, so I think it's like viable to assume that there will be changes. Obviously, that's like could be that's quite ambiguous, but yeah, they'll definitely change it. I mean,
The change that I want to see, I don't want Legend. Like, okay, I want the change to be more like the League of Legends system. Over like a 3 to 4 month period, we have like at every rank there are like certain leagues, and then you gotta play games to promote to the next rank. That's kind of what I
Oh,
want to see.
okay, sure.
Yeah. So like challenger level for League of Legends would be like the equivalent to the legend rank in Hearthstone. And instead of counting by stars, right? Because inherently the way the system is now, it's not based on the percentage of people. Like just because I'm at legend doesn't mean like I am the top, definitely the top 0.5%, for example, because that season could have more legends, right? Due to the way the stars and stuff work. So, for example, the season that I made top 100, which was last season, there were 4,000 legend players in NA. That's like so much higher than the previous season, which was like 2,000
Yeah.
plus.
I think
4,000
2,000
is
yeah.
4,000 is crazy. And like, doesn't this already mean that like because players are really getting very good and getting better at this game, that a lot of them can hit legend, being legend is becoming less and less special. So they need to find a way to like make being the top of the game more fresh. And I think that's reducing the number of players who are legend to maybe like 0.5% or 0.2%. And then you have several other tiers below legend that are also considered very impressive to get to. So for example, in League of Legends, challengers the highest tier, but there are certain professional players that are not even challenger level. They're playing at Diamond 1 or Diamond 2, which are already considered like very, very, very high tier players and already good enough to be professional League of Legends players.
And the seasons are longer.
Exactly.
And
Which I really want that actually.
That's of anything. That's what I want. Like I just don't like the climb.
For some people who don't have enough time, it's just not feasible to play shit legend. You don't have enough time to play Hearthstone.
I don't think that they'll make the seasons any longer because I think that's one big thing that they like about Hearthstone is. So if you're a casual player, you can take a break, I guess. So we're in League. If you take a break for a month or two, then you get like you start losing points based on there's a point of inactivity, and then from there every day you lose like League points, and you eventually get demoted. But with Hearthstone, like if you're say going on holiday for 2 weeks of the month, then the impact exactly the impact of not playing is minimal. Because it's restricted to that 1 month. Like you look at this, the top 100 finish for NA, where you're sitting 61st. You can see that Firebat is, for example, not. I'm pretty sure he's not in the top 100 for last season. Yeah, he's not in there because he was so busy traveling around playing tournaments and stuff. So the fact that he only has to miss out on 1 season for points because of his traveling is good for him. I think
that's true.
Yeah, so I can't imagine them changing the season length, but maybe like the progression or something. So something will change.
I understand. I don't know.
I get it.
I mean, I don't like it. The smart ass in me is saying this is Hearthstone. We don't have time for filthy casuals. But
Jesus, that's what. That's how we're at 30 million players.
Right.
Casual. See, the thing about games that do well, or anything that does well, that they need to have a casual like player base. The reason there's been such a poker explosion, well, we're currently in a poker recession, but from like in the earlier 2000s was because
Chris Moneymaker.
Yeah, because of the Chris Moneymaker effect was basically. The idea was that this accountant came out of obscurity to come and win the biggest title in poker, and all of a sudden it seemed like anyone could win. You could be like you could work at McDonald's and win like millions of dollars playing poker. So it had a lot of appeal for a casual player. So that's really what we can't lose as a Hearthstone industry. It's like as soon as we lose the casual player, then we're cooked.
So then do we need more incentive for people to climb ladder?
Yes.
There's a lot of calls where people are just saying, I could care less about climbing ladder anymore. I just do it to get the card back, and then I'll play on ladder, but I really don't care. I'm doing arena.
It's really the incentive is like very polarized, because you look at at one end of the spectrum you have legend and high legend and world championship points, and that's at the right end of the spectrum, and then at the left end are the people at rank 25 who have the incentive to get below rank 20 to get the card back. Everyone in the middle, the other 85, I'd be willing to say probably 85% of players have no incentive either way, because they're too in the middle to get legend, or they've already got the card back. So filling out, I guess, the rest of it would be better.
Well, I mean, and we've got pro players that don't even ladder. I mean, it's not even this game. I mean, there's people that play League that do it. Counter Strike Go, CS:GO. There's people that they don't rank at all. That they're pro players. All they do is play tournaments. They're worse ranks than me, and I'm pretty low. It's almost. It's just not worth their time, I guess, for some people. I guess if you're streaming and that's how you make your living, then there's no reason not to play ladder in this game anyway.
I think the thing is that because there's the strategy is so much more, I guess, one-dimensional in that it only relates to what you're playing and what your opponents are playing. So it makes less that there's more value in being a good player than being really good with the meta in Hearthstone, because as long as you can make the correct decisions consistently and I guess know how to play against your opponent. Obviously, that's a little bit more influenced by the meta, is playing against your opponent. But fundamentally, if you're a better player or a good tournament player, that's what's important, because you're playing Conquest format, which is so different to ladder. Then it becomes less important how good you are at playing, I guess, what's in the meta because of your experience with Conquest. And that's really what's important. And that's why you don't have to be rank 1 legend to be a good tournament player.
Agreed.
And it goes both ways. You don't have to be a great tournament player to be really good at ladder. You just have to be resilient and have good play ethic and maybe a little bit of luck in there. But I think just to segue it back to variance.
Yeah, I think we burned our tangent token right there.
Yeah, back on the topic of
we still have a rant, but we'll save that for later.
So implosion is the perfect, I guess, is the card personification of variance. In that, one thing about variance is. So the idea of variance is what it's varying from is the mean, the average. The idea is over a long enough period, everything will recede to the mean. And in Implosion's case, the mean is 3 damage. So if you look at all the Implosions you've ever played, there's a pretty good chance the average damage they deal would be 3, because you can roll high and get a 4, or you can roll low and get a 2. And so and then always the middle roll of 3. So I guess, so the idea of Implosion is that it has both high and low variance points, but for the most part, you should be able to count on it for doing 3 damage.
3,
yeah.
I think, I agree that Implosion's a good example, because if you examine the value of the card based on the mana cost, it's pretty bad. It's really bad when it does 2, and it's really good when it does 4. So because you get 4 imps and 4 damage for 4 mana. That's insane, right? So in that sense, it's a very good example of variance. And I think this is where we can start talking about how you use variance to your advantage in the game of Hearthstone. Because it's so inherently built into the game, you kind of need to use variance. Variance has to be a factor in how you play. And variance is not luck. Variance is probability, and probability can be managed. It can be reduced, it can be increased when you need it. In the same way that in poker, it's a game of, yes, luck on the draw, but luck on the draw is probability. If I get 10 terrible hands in a row, there's a likelihood I'm going to hit the 11th one to be better, So, So I think the big concept in how to use variance in a game like Hearthstone, if you're winning, you want as little variance as possible because you don't want anything that could potentially screw up your chances of winning the game. And if you're losing the game already, you want to increase your odds of hitting variance like like rolling high variance because that's maybe one of the few ways that you can do to come back into the game, right? So with regards to implosion, if you're losing very very badly and it's a 4 health minion on the board, just roll the implosion. Try and hit 4 because if there's no other way you can win other than this minion dying from your implosion, you got to do it, right? If not, you implosion something smaller, but see, he has like a 2/3 and a 6/4, and you're at 5 health, and implosion's the only card you play. You have to implosion a 6/4. You can't implosion a 2/3 because if you implosion a 2/3, is a 100% chance you lose the next turn. If you implosion a 6/4, there's a 33.3% chance that you don't lose the next turn because you rolled a 4 on it, right? So that's obviously that's a very basic example, but
so nuts and bolts.
It's illustrating how if you're behind and you're going to lose, you need to count on high variance, and that's when you can start making plays that rely on high variance to work. Like for example, another thing is like a bit more complicated, but it's the most common use of this effect is Doctor Boom, like how you wish to distribute. Like Doctor Boom is very interesting because there are a lot of different ways you can play the two boom bots, right? Because it's not like 1-4, 1-4. It's the 2/1 damage that they deal as well as 1/1s that change a lot of the math. So it's very hard to illustrate in conversation like over this call, or even like to describe it in the game because the turn's like 90 seconds. But basically, you can use the boom bots in very different ways depending on the way the bot stacks out. If you're winning, if you're ahead, like I feel like you should use the boom bots to attack first and see where the damage lies, and then from there you can try and get the best trades you can. I think that's the variance minimizing play. You let the variance happen, and then you try and work around it. The getting greedy play with boom bots would be to like basically call your shot. Like you set up, like say you have a backstab, right? And you like want this minion to die, and it's on 3 health or 2 health. You backstab it first. You throw a boom bot into something else, and you hope it lands on that guy, for example. Because if that's the only way that you have to clear the board and win the game, you have to go to do it that way. If you didn't backstab it and it hit the minion, you threw your boom bot into something at turn and it hit the minion, and it's now on 2 health. If you backstab it earlier, you could have killed it, right? So like you should like boom bots is the most common form of RNG that we have in game now, and it's the one that people misplay most of the time. I feel like if you're losing, you have to like kind of call your shot and set up the best possible boom bot situation that you can. And if you're losing, don't do that and don't get greedy. Instead, just like let the boom bots roll, see how it lands up, and try and get the best damage and trades and remove as many minions as you can after that happens.
There's a lot to be said about like Zoo early game has a lot of variance involved, particularly when you get like the classic example that I can think of is when you have a knife juggler and a haunted creeper. It's this the boom bot thing in that you can ram a minion with the haunted creeper to do 1 damage and then hedge your bets and have use knife juggler's RNG to hopefully clear that minion that's just taking 1 damage from the haunted creeper. And so a lot of games can at least
boil down to the exact moment.
So you can basically boil it down to those exact moments. There are definitely times where you have to. It's just inherent to how Zoo plays early game. Sometimes you have to hit those knives. Those juggles are so important early.
Yes.
And you can like win and lose games on single juggles, much like you can win and lose games on rolling a 2 with with implosion. Sometimes there's some games where I just like it's like turn 2 or 3. It's probably turn 4 or 5 with implosion, and I've just rolled a 2 and it's just open concede because there's nothing you can really do like beyond that point if you don't hit a 3. So what I try and do is try and hedge my bets and aim for situations where I need to roll a 3 with implosion. So only a third of the time do I roll a 2 and have to open concede, but 2/3 of the time I kill the creature I'm after, and 1/3 of the time I roll high and do much more. But so I guess and also what Avery was saying before about minimizing variance when ahead is that's likened to, there's basically the same thing as trying to play safe and trying to play a safe road to victory. And then when you're behind, try and pick as high a variance. That's like the whole, that's the YOLO rag is when behind, play YOLO rag and hope for the best, because sometimes YOLO rag will win you games. The other thing is there is obviously people who play high variance styles all the way through. So you can play high variance and win games and lose games, but you've got to realize that this is somewhat streaky. So that's sort of like, so there are definitely decks. Aggro decks seem to sometimes, I think aggro decks are probably more prone to variance swings because the games are inherently shorter. It probably, it definitely feels like sometimes it's just you're rolling bad variants and you just get squished by Taunt monsters. But then, obviously on the other end, there are those games where it's like, turn 4, I can deal 18 damage to them, something like that.
I think Tempo Mage is a good example. You can get really bad flame cannons, really bad unstable portal pulls. That's my experience anyway. There's a lot of, or even something like play duplicate and maybe they play a Hungry Dragon and you get a Goldshire Footman. And then they kill it, and you get 2 Goldshire Footmen. That's not good.
I don't think that's that's not really variance though, because that's more of I suppose it's variance in like a wider sense, but in terms of the game, the Flame Wake is probably more variance than anything, because
drawing Mana Worm on turn 1 is also in a sense variance because of the card pools.
Oh yeah,
it's brutal.
And that actually is a very big deal with that deck. If you don't get Mana Worm turn 1, the deck kind of sucks. I feel personally, the deck's horrible.
It sucks more. It definitely sucks more. Like you can still win games, but it makes it harder definitely to win. But the thing with Flame Cannon is you can very much control the Flame Cannon because you can just clear everything. And even then with Flame Waker on board, if you're like rolling a 50-50 between the two, a lot of the time it's fine because you're getting the 2 damage from the Flame Waker on top of the 4 from the Flame Cannon. So it makes it a very solid clear, I would think.
Another card that I think people play kind of badly with a lot of the time is Piloted Shredder. I feel that if you're very ahead and there's no way you can lose, you shouldn't try and trade off the Shredder. You should keep it around, because you never know when you land the Doomsayer, man. Seriously. I just lose games for no reason. So if you're winning so hard that you're gonna win in 1 or 2 turns and there's no way you can possibly lose, don't trade off the Shredder. Try and preserve the Shredder. Use that 4 damage to face or do something else with it. Don't let it die, because letting it die is just opening another, just the one out that your opponent has that he comes back into the game, and that's Doomsayer. If you're behind and he has a Doomsayer, that's when you go for it. You just dark bomb the shit out of that thing, or you I don't know, frostbolt it or something. Just find some way to open up the Shredder, because you never know. That's your out to come back in the game. That he lands Doomsayer, his board clears, he has nothing to play. It's your initiative again. So if you're losing, just go for it. And I don't mean losing in the sense of I'm slowly getting attrition down. I mean I'm gonna die in 3 turns or 2 turns kind of losing. Like a very, very bad situation. That's when you go for the Shredder RNG. Try and land something sick in your favor.
I think is that all for variants? I think that's I think we've covered I guess the basics of Hearthstone variants and how it continues. I think
you
added something more you talk about, tilt, right?
Yeah, yes. We talked about it a little bit. I think part of when we talked about variants, I think a side effect of it can be being tilted, and kind of there's a couple things you can definitely use tilt to your advantage as well, because I think we spent this last half hour talking about variants on your plays, a little bit on your opponent's plays, but you may be playing against an opponent that's tilted, so use that to your advantage. If anything, it's not just a detriment to you, it's definitely use it for you. And we've talked about BM a little bit. I'm okay with some BM. I'm not
it's definitely part of the game.
Yeah, and I think you see it in the tournaments. Some people do use it very strategically. And you do see those players that they start doing it and immediately they go up and silence their opponent.
Good. It's a very good policy is to.
Oh, we'll get him. Well, we'll get him back.
Am I dying?
Oh, there you are. There you go. We got you.
I'm alive?
Yeah. You said it's very good policy?
Good policy to...
If you are prone to tilt.
Wait, say that one more time? Uh-oh.
I think what he intended to say was a very good policy to not to scold your opponent if he starts making noise in a game.
Right.
I've done it a couple of times because if you don't want to let factors that are that you can avoid affect you, and Blizzard has given us the amazing option of squelching your opponent. So if you're playing a very high stakes tournament game and your opponent's well met all the time, and you feel like he's the kind of player who will rub insult into your wounds, after he consecrations you, he was gonna thank you or something like that, then you should squelch him early to prevent these kind of situations happening.
Yeah, because the last thing you want is he's got minions on the board and you, I guess, misuse removal or use something that you need later, or maybe you're not thinking that you need it later.
That was a mistake.
Yeah, and it's well, I'll show you. I'll whatever.
I'll roll 4 with my implosion.
Yeah, you will. I'll siphon soul your. I don't know. Think of a card. Annoyotron. Hello. Well, that's annoying, and you're being well met in me for 4 hours. I'll siphon soul. I mean, pick any card. Where it's not worth it. Where you should have saved that for silence. If you're playing Paladin, a silenced Tyrion or something like that.
Because you want to show him. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Get back, bitch, as opposed to making the actually correct play.
Because your thought is, I'll make him shut up. And that's not it. He's sitting behind a computer screen. Potentially halfway around the world. He or she doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
If I was playing High Legend, I'd just squelch every game just to take a possible tilt out of the game. I don't want to play this part of the game. So as Avery was saying, it's a part of the game you don't have to participate in, and if you're affected by it, you probably shouldn't partake in. Because it's just not worth it. There's enough volatility in Hearthstone already. There's no reason to add more things that could potentially set you off.
And another thing I read, I need to find this. I saved it. I need to find it. I'm going to put it in the show notes if I can find it. I found a really good Reddit article with a Hearthstone player. It was on the official Hearthstone subreddit, I guess. And this player was a longtime poker player. And he basically tried to throw the two games together and show the similarities. And we've talked about a little bit of somewhat what he does, but Tilt came up and he kind of gave, I guess, his analogy for what he likes to do. And I found this interesting. And Matt, I know you and I have talked about this a little bit because and correct me if I'm wrong, but you typically just play one, maybe 2 decks all the way through. You play them real hard every season, right?
I've been slowly expanding my horizons, but for the most part, I'll try and stick to as few decks as possible.
I think the benefit to that, and again, you tell me, and you too, Avery, you just get real good with the deck. I mean, you learn how to play it. Even if, I guess you could say you've played it for months and months and seasons on end. Like Handlock. This isn't the first season I've played it a lot, but I guess what this player was saying is he says, so the thought is, do you continue when you're playing, if you're getting tilted and maybe you're stuck at like a rank 10 wall, rank 5 wall, whatever it may be, a rank 1 wall, do you continue or do you change class mid-meta, mid-rank? And he gave the analogy of this is kind of like poker folding your hand. He said, sometimes, even if you've got a great hand, or again, you think you have a good hand, and you'll probably win. If you're tilted, you might make a mistake. You might not count the way that you think you should. So some good players will fold if they're just not sure if they're tilting. And he kind of made the analogy that it's sort of like folding your hand is kind of, okay, do I want to change things up? Or, we talked about this tonight. Go play Arena. or just pull out a deck and have fun in casual mode.
Yeah, I think folding your hand in Hearthstone is definitely stopping playing. Like, because while I think that's probably closer. Is like a better way. If you're tilted, it's better to stop playing. Because equally, like, and this feeds back into if you suffer from ladder anxiety, then probably just stop playing. It's probably the better thing to do.
I really enjoy Arena because it is talk about variance. I mean, you make good decisions on the deck, but sometimes there's just nothing you can do. You're gonna have a garbage deck, but so could your opponent, and
that makes it very bearable, right?
Yeah,
acknowledge that I'm just gonna suck. Just gonna suck.
I don't mind going. Well, I don't like going 0-3, but if I go 3-3 in Arena, I'm fine with it. It's fine. But I mean, sometimes I've had the 12 run already. The last Arena run, I went 8, I think 8-3. But I mean, you'll have those times where you'll go 0-3 and it just sucks.
And then you get even angrier.
Exactly.
After because you just lost 6 ranked games in a row, then you just went 0-3 in Arena, and now you have no computer screens at all because they're all
because you broke all 3 of
them.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with Arena. I know some people that if you're super competitive, just stop playing. I'm not really super. I can't
just stop playing if it's super competitive. It's probably why it's a problem.
Right.
It's like, oh my god, I have to keep. And that being said, that's probably like one thing to getting high legend is the fact that you don't want to stop playing, that you have to keep going. I have to win.
And
I think a mistake that people do, and I make this as well a lot. The idea of changing decks, right? And like let's just talk about changing decks like on ladder. It's like, say you lose too much of a deck, and then you're like just get so mad, you just like rage change, and then you lose 3 more. I feel like that's a very bad move. Instead of like relying on your gut and instinct, which at the time is completely off, just go back. If you're using a stats tracker, just check the recent decks you've been playing against and figure out what's the best deck in this situation. If the best deck is still the deck that you were playing earlier because of the matchups, and you know this from like your knowledge or reading or whatever, like if you're playing a lot of warrior and like you face hunters and freeze mages, and for some reason you just lost 2-3 games in a row, and you check back and you're like, wait, I only play against hunters and freeze mages. It doesn't mean you need to change the deck. It just means you just had a bad run, or you're making certain play mistakes. So look back at the games and figure out what you could have done to like improve the matchup, and go maybe read up stuff to improve the matchup. Like, you don't need to be changing decks just because you're losing with the deck. If you look back at your stats tracker and it looks like, hold on a moment, these are classes that I should be beating quite easily, or against this field of the past 20 games I've played, my deck is reasonably well positioned, or something like that. Or like you want to play control warrior because you just lost to 5 face hunters in a row, but actually they're not actually that many face hunters. You just happen to queue against the same guy 5 times in a row. You don't need to change the deck to control warrior. You look at the past few games that you played, figure out, even if you don't have a stat tracker, just like remember, like, okay, I play against roughly how many druids, how many warlocks, how many zoos, how many priests, and you try to figure out from there what's the best deck. If the best deck is still the deck you're playing, though you've been losing a bit, it could just be you're having a bad run. Just keep queuing a bit. Eventually, you're gonna get that win, and it's gonna get better from there.
Yeah, and again, I mean, that's a good segue into stat trackers. My thought there is use them, and this kind of goes along with tilt. If you think you're having a bad run and you're keeping track of all this, I think when I first started using it, which wasn't that long ago, you think you go on these runs like, God, I am doing so horrible, and then you look at a stat track and you go, actually, I'm not doing that bad.
Yeah.
I think you just, again, tilt is real. But yeah, like you were saying, I don't mean to say, if you lose 3 games in a row, well, I'm so much for Face Hunter, I'm going to go play Handlock now. Just something completely different, because you could just be getting bad matchups for a handful of games. Now,
or bad hands, like bad variants for those few games that you should be winning.
Now, if you logged on and one morning and you ranked 10 and you lose every single game back to 15, you might want to think about changing, or take a look and see what we're playing against. But that's what I mean. I don't mean I just lost 4 games in a row. Well, time to really change it up. But I mean, the meta is a meta for a reason. There's a reason why certain decks are good, and
it's always changing as well.
Right.
You gotta keep up with the times.
Right.
I think once 10's a good number. Like if you ever lose 10 games in a row, it's probably time to change decks.
And buy a new monitor.
And yeah, and get some bandages for your bloodied hand that you just put through your monitor. But yeah, stat trackers, particularly the one that I started using recently was Hearthstone Deck Tracker. For the longest time, I'd been using Hearthstone Tracker, which was it hadn't had an update since like last year. So I was like, and I could never really get Deck Tracker to work, but now I got it to work, and I must say it's like the most like ridiculous thing ever. Like it gives you it's called HUD, which is the abbreviation, which is a heads up display. So basically, you're looking straight at what you need to see. So on the right hand side of the screen, you get your deck list, and it'll like show which cards are still in there. And when you've like drawn both copies of a card, it will fade it out. And then on the left-hand side of the screen, your opponent's deck gets displayed as they play it. So obviously it doesn't know what your opponent's deck is, but as they play cards, it'll record it and show you. And so you can see out of 30 cards, how many cards they've played. It also, the next thing, and I've often said this to people about a potential add-on that would tell you how old a card is in your opponent's hand. And this version of Hearthstone Deck Tracker does that as well. It tells you how long your opponent's been holding this card in their hand for. So like if they draw on turn 3, it'll have a little 3 on it. And I think one of the even better things is for the mulligan phase, it tells you, so it marks it with an M and a K. So if during the mulligan phase they keep a card, it'll mark that card with a K. And if they throw it back and another card comes in, that card that they replace will be marked with an M. And it just, it's just overlay is just ridiculous.
I have not seen that. That's wild.
Yeah, it's
also, by the way, for all listeners, completely legal. Because Blizzard announced that they're not going to like ban or have problems with software that just do exactly what you can do with pen and paper.
Yeah,
and everything that is stated here, you can do with pen and paper.
No, there's. I don't think there's any. I do think a very small, very vocal group of folks think it's cheating. It's not cheating. Some people can do this in their head, but yeah, a piece of paper and a pen, you can do the same thing.
The same thing. Like if we often jump back to this on this podcast, at least, is it's the same thing in poker. For online poker, there's a huge market, and this is what
calculators, right?
Yeah, it was just like in the last sort of like, I guess 2000s and early teens has been the separation between good players and like the casual player is HUDs, because you can record, particularly in poker, you can record so many stats that give you an edge on people that you've played against before, like how often do they fold this hand in this spot, and sort of like that sort of thing. And this is sort of just that little bit of a step towards it. Obviously there's a little bit harder in Hearthstone because it's much less consistent who you play against. But yeah, basically the people who use this have more information than the people that don't use this. And you want to be one of those players who does use this, and it does have that little bit more information, because it all helps. Basically, if you can see that this paladin has been holding this card since turn 1 and it's now turn 4 or 5, there's potential that it's consecrate or something like that. That's basically what you can start doing. You start thinking about what they would keep at the start and then hold.
And I personally don't use it because specifically to this one Hearthstone Deck Tracker, right? I can't get it to work on my computer, so I can't really see like exactly how amazing it is, like in terms of my gameplay and how it improved my gameplay. But in terms of like stats trackers of like how my matchups and stuff I'm doing, I kind of stopped using that because this is a kind of like a general observation that tilt comes in many different ways to many different people. So like I know earlier I said you should look at your stats. That's because I'm assuming that most people use stats trackers for their plays to determine like who they're playing against and what their win percentage is like. But I personally stopped using them because I found that when I have a number that I'm trying to aspire toward, which was like my previous win rate in the deck, and I see the number drop lower and lower and lower as I keep playing it, that tilts me. And I feel like I have to keep playing to push that number up again. Like that's just basically the problem of tilting that I I personally have when it comes to using stats tracker. So I stopped it. I just kind of write down like my previous few opponents. If I really, really like am try harding, like I want to like figure out the meta as of the moment, then I'll use like I'll type on notepad or like I'll write with a pen and paper like what are the previous few opponents, like past 10 opponents or something, or just try and remember roughly what's the meta like, and that's enough for me.
That's one cool thing about this stat tracker is it records like your opponent's name and shit, so you can see if you played against people before. And I get that that's really good, I guess, for things like when you're playing again, if they were playing like Mage or Warrior, it lets you help you identify what type of Mage or Warrior it was.
Yeah, I can't get it to work though, so I don't get this advantage.
You've got to try. You've got to try.
Yeah. When it comes to tournament games, like I also like that's like my most try hard moment. So I use pen and paper. I write down basically all the things that thing uses, like every single card they play, every single card I play. What else do I like? If you keep a card in your hand for very long, I also write it down, and that's not because of like it's not just because I can't get it to work like the program. If I could get it to work, I would probably still not use it in tournaments because I feel like I process all the information better when I write it, commit it to like a note. So it helps me process like, okay, now that I know this information, how does this change my line of play? Or how does this change my probability calculation to draw the blade flurry that I really need? You know? So that like writing it helps a lot more than like looking at the numbers on the computer screen to me. So like if people like you should try I don't know, like maybe y'all should try it sometime. Like when you play tournament games or games that you want to play very seriously, right? Just use a pen and paper and track your information. It helps you process and it takes you to like a higher zen state. Because when you play Hearthstone, because it's like a casually game and it's turn-based and it's kind of slow, most of the time you're autopiloting and you're zoning out. But when you start writing things down and like reading your writing, it helps you like process the information and it brings you to like a more like focused point of gameplay. That's how I feel anyway. Yeah.
Oh, sure. And even your own cards and that those apps will help you as far as the percentage of you. Okay, I turns whatever the turn might be. I've got this many cards in my hand or in my deck still to draw. I need this card, or this card. I really need this next turn. Or like if you're playing Warlock, for example.
Yeah.
Should I tap or I've got the mana to play this? You know, what are the chances? What's my percentage of pulling one of the cards that I need? You know, whatever that may be. Just it's an example circumstance. Or if you're playing Mage and you can draw cards, you know, whatever it may be. Knowing what's in your hand and knowing that math, I think that's an advantage too. Again, talking about variance, just knowing what the odds are of you getting what you need to increase your chance of getting ahead.
And you don't even really need like stats trackers or deck trackers to do the math for you.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward, right?
No, yeah. The only hard part is the mulligan phase. That can be some difficult math. But yeah, other than that, it's basically, well, I've got 2 of a card. I haven't pulled them yet, and I've got any one of them yet, and I have 10 cards in my hand or whatever. Well, that math's pretty simple. But I think the mulligan phase is the only difficult math. It was hypergeometric math. Yeah.
Do y'all do a lot of hard math in your mulligan? I don't. Like I mulligan a lot based on like I feel.
It depends. I guess
you're a field player, not a math player,
right?
Yeah. When it comes to poker, I'm more of a math player, but in Hearthstone, I'm quite field.
Yeah.
Like, because it's a different game now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like I think one of the big ones, right, is you're playing against Hunter and you're a control warrior, and you're starting second. Starting second? Okay, let's say you're starting first. Do you keep Acolyte or Pain? Like that's one of the some of my friends have been having this discussion recently. Actually, if you are going first and you don't have the coin, and you have Acolyte and Pain in your hand, you keep it because there's a very high chance that it's going to be the earliest play that you have. But at the same time, if you play Acolyte on turn 3 and that's the first play, you may have already lost the game.
What is it? But if you run 2 of Fiery War Axe, isn't it? I think it's in the mulligan phase. If you go first, it's like a 50.4% chance of you pulling 1 of those Fiery War Axes.
Oh, is it so high?
Yeah, I'm telling you, the mulligan math is very complex.
Doesn't that just mean that the number's a lot higher than you think? So you should just
and maybe it's if you go second, or it's not.
Okay.
It's the mulligan phase, and then the card that you draw on your turn. Yeah, I think all of that combined is like a 50% chance. It's somewhere between 40 and 50.
It'd be pretty decent because you have 5 cracks at it.
Yeah, and I think Ben Brode confirmed that when you mulligan, you will not pull the cards that you
exact copy,
mulligan.
Yes.
Yes.
Wait, you won't what, sir?
You will not get back the exact card that you mulligan.
Yeah.
So when you say, if I mulligan a War X and I get back a War X, that's the second copy of the War X.
Right.
That's not the same copy that I mulligan.
Right. Or like if you mulligan Dr. Boom, you won't get a Dr. Boom in your.
Yeah.
So you can't get what you mulligan is what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
That was confirmed.
Yeah. Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Ben Brode that said it. It was one of the devs.
Yeah.
That changes everything.
But yeah, I mean, like you were saying, Avery, that is a good point. Like, because still, what are the chances you don't get it? You know, what are the chances of you getting? Okay, I've got these cards that are okay. The last thing I want to do is pull Ysera, Grom, and Nefarian, you know.
That's where the math helps, I think.
Yeah.
And actually, there's one. I actually had some a slight dabble with this mulligan math recently because I was trying to work out how many dragons to play in a Dragon Paladin deck, and if I wanted to hit my Corruptor on turn 3 or my Technician on turn 3 and Corruptor on turn 5, like how many dragons I need to play. And one of my friends was doing the math for me. He's like, if you run 6 dragons to hit, if you have none of them in your opening hand, you're like 70%ish to hit Technician on turn 3. I'm like, wow, seriously?
Wow.
That high? Like 6 dragons, none in opening hand, about 70% to hit a turn 3 dragon. Like that's crazy, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's actually, I think.
Yeah. 20% of the deck. It's 20% of the deck over what? That's like 3 draws.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And like if you run like 8 to 9 dragons, it's like even more guaranteed. So, but like I think the takeaway from all of our mathematical conversation is A, there's a lot of math, it's very complicated, and if you're interested, you should go look it up. But B, the math is probably a lot more in the favor of throwing cards than you realize.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said earlier, Magic is even worse. Because not only are you worried about your opening hand as far as minions or spells, but you also need to have lands in your hand.
And you don't get to do the Hearthstone mulligan.
You're
the
right.
Hearthstone mulligan is actually a very good mulligan.
Yeah,
it's called in Magic we used to call it the Paris mulligan, where you get to pick certain cards that you want, and you throw the rest back to redraw the same number that you threw -1. So that was like the Paris mulligan for Magic. And they did that for a while, like a long time ago, and they stopped it in favor of the I can't remember the name of the mulligan, but the conventional mulligan now, which is your whole hand goes mulligan. Back. Yeah, your whole hand goes back, and you draw back the whole hand -1 card.
That's brutal.
Wow, man, so sick.
Yeah.
So Hearthstone has it easy, man. Like, you got to control so much of the variation in the game.
Another reason why we're better.
Yeah.
Another reason why it's just better. Good mulligans.
Yeah.
It's more friendly a game to play.
It's
more
friendly.
accessible. I won't say it's a better game.
I want to talk about mulligans in a couple weeks, maybe.
Sure.
I think we definitely need to do more research on it, but
we'll sit there and do the geometric math. And
right here, it'll be the best podcast on the planet. We're gonna have TI-83s on the desk. It'll be all numbers.
I think it's past 83 by now, right? It's like 80, probably 87.
Man, I'm getting behind the times.
When I was in school, which was like 4 years ago, it was like 84, TI-84.
Okay, I'm showing my age. Oh God. But yeah. Well, any other thoughts on variants or RNG? Tilt?
Don't tilt.
Don't tilt.
Yeah. Whatever you do not tilt. Just prevent it. You can't. If it's that easy, we'd all just be legend and very zen people. But no, we're all just like a bunch of rages. It's just monitors being broken left, right, and center.
Just if you're tilting, try to not play until you're like feeling like confident again. If you're having ladder anxiety, or like on the left end, like you're very afraid to queue, or on the deep end where you're so angry, you're like, I need to win. Both those situations, I think you should just take a break, play another game if you have nothing else to do. Like, just find something else to do with your time.
Go find someone. Go find someone to hug, or if you're violent, go punch a pillow. I mean, there's so many ways. There's so many outlets. Come on.
Not your computer screen, too expensive.
Yeah, Matt, you're the psychologist. Come on, what should people do?
Just find someone to punch and then hug. Right?
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. It's like, look, bro, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry I hit you.
Well, I find every now and then that I just have to like losing 3 or 4 games in a row. I just have to like turn around and just yell for about 2 seconds. It's like just like scream, and it actually feel a lot better. Because it's just just that little outburst. Like if you need to scream, just don't internalize it. Just like let it out. Obviously, if you're on the train playing Hearthstone on the mobile, then probably not. Probably just like, I don't know, like stab your foot really hard.
No. If you're on a train and you're losing, please pull out yourself. I'm assuming you already have your cell phone out. Take a video of yourself and send it to me, please. I'd love to see that.
Just rage.
Just raging on a bus. Please mail at deathrattlecrew.com, please.
But yeah, it's really just the key to like tilt, I guess, control is just to understand how you behave and what makes you tick. If you the more you think about that, the better and more consistently you control it. Like, yeah, whether you just need to take a break for 5 minutes, or whether you need to get a teddy bear that you can just hurl at the wall, or I think one of the this is like a side bit. There was a poker series, and basically they had what was called a tilt room. So when they lost a lot of money or something, they could just go smash like a ceramic cow or something. Just basically get their anger out.
Wow, seriously, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it was really good. Just like sledgehammer into a watermelon, that sort of thing.
There was one series, some tournament I saw that's even like it made tilt worse, right? Like if you get bluffed out of a hand.
Oh yeah.
And there's a stop clock, and you get bluffed out, you have to stand in like a prison, and you can't play for like a few hands or something. There's like a cell that you have to stand inside and watch while everyone else is playing. Doesn't that kind of make the tilt worse?
Yeah, but, just people died that night from tilt. Getting stabbed.
All right. Well, so that's Meta-Anatomy this week. We will be right back. DRC would like to thank Brainiacs for their support of this podcast. If you have a tech idea for improving your business's workflow, Brainiacs can provide a turnkey solution to specifically fit your needs. You can contact them at www.brainiux.com. And that's our show for this week. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget you can mail us at email us at mail@deathrattlecrew.com. The Pit 2. Yeah, you can. Yeah. I'm not giving you my address. Matt, do you want to give them your address?
Yeah, somewhere in Australia. Just write that on the envelope. Just somewhere in Australia. It'll find me, probably.
Perfect. Don't forget the Pit 2. Go sign up for it. You can find this, again, the sticky on our website, www.deathrattlecrew.com, or go look for the Pit at Battlefy, BATTLEFY.com. Don't forget to subscribe through YouTube or whatever podcast catcher of choice you may use, Stitcher, iTunes, whatever it may be. And follow us on Twitter at DeathRattleCrew. I'm Tac2, that is Mooshu.
I am.
And Avery.
Am I?
Yes. And we will see you next week.
Dude, do you see that Mars is, well, Archon are hosting
Archon Pro League, right? Yeah, it's also 250k.
Yeah, 250. I would just
holy crap.
I would just add get him to add $1,000 so you have a bigger prize pool than BlizzCon.
Yeah.
351k.
Oh,
but yeah, no, dude, that's gonna be fucked. It's like
wow.
It's coming. The idea is it's gonna be like next month. Apparently, this was all leaked.
Who's sponsoring it?
We don't know.
Wow, it hasn't
been officially announced yet.
Okay, damn.
Mars was not a happy chappy that it got leaked, but the fact that you'd have to. There are too many loose ends in a league like that, because obviously you're talking to sponsors, you're talking to teams to get players in, and then eventually somewhere along the line something leaked.
It was Firebat.
Yeah, Firebat.
DRC confirmed. Let's start a rumor train.
It was
Firebat. Why? You should mouth shut, man. It's not a rent scolding him on our podcast. Hilarious.
There's the rant. That's the rant of the week. God damn it, Firebat.
Stop winning things, Firebat.